Even for bad teams, the start of a new season is supposed to bring with it renewed hope. Well, the Detroit Pistons didn't get the memo. Despite a stockpile of young talent collected over the years, the Pistons appear just as far from relevance and contention today as they were when this rebuild started, and the play of their most prized prospect hasn't helped. The Pistons didn't need to be good or even make a play-in leap this year, but fans in the Motor City were understandably expecting the team to take some baby steps forward. This is a franchise coming off a league-worst 17 wins last season. This is an organization 5 years removed from the last time they even cracked 30 wins in a season or made the playoffs. 8 years removed from its last winning campaign, a club that has made the postseason just twice over the last 14 years, and one that hasn't won a single playoff game since 2008.
Yikes.
The Pistons spent the bulk of that time wandering the wilderness of NBA mediocrity. Nowhere near good enough to compete, but just good enough to avoid the top of the lottery. That changed upon the team's high-profile hiring of former Thunder exec Troy Weaver in 2020, with the front office finally ready to stomach a full-scale rebuild. In addition to inheriting the 7th pick in the 2020 draft, Weaver's Pistons accumulated a ton of youngsters over the years, thanks to their own on-court performance and a number of trades. By the time the 2023-24 season tipped off, Detroit had 8 players on its roster that had been selected in the first round of the last 4 drafts. What the team is now learning is that it's virtually impossible to adequately develop and optimize that many prospects at one time. They traded Saddiq Bey, a productive youngster perfectly suited to be a role player on competitive teams, to take a flyer on James Wiseman a year after taking a flyer on Marvin Bagley, and now have both in the same front court as Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren. Killian Hayes was blocking Jaden Ivey's playing time and development, while Hayes and Ivey also have to share a backcourt with rookie sharpshooter Marcus Sasser, who, for some reason, was recently getting less playing time than Kevin Knox.
I can't keep track of all those people.
It's one thing if the Pistons were balancing future development with winning in the present, but that's clearly not the case here. Detroit continues to embarrass itself on the court while young players get lost in the shuffle and trade values deteriorate. After an encouraging opening week, the Pistons have lost 12 straight to once again plummet to the bottom of the standings, with their last 2 losses particularly nasty affairs. A day after losing by 29 in Toronto, the Pistons dropped a home game to a Murray-less Nuggets squad that also lost Nikola Jokic and head coach Michael Malone to first-half ejections. Remarkably, this marks Detroit's 3rd losing streak of at least 11 games over the team's last 40 contests dating back to last season, a stretch that has seen the Pistons go 4-36. The city's football team has more wins in 2023 despite playing 45 less games. To be fair, the Pistons have lost more games to injury than any other team so far this season, with veterans Bojan Bogdanovic and Joe Harris spending most, if not all, of the young season on the sidelines. The absence of those vet shooters, particularly Bogdanovic, has cramped Detroit's offense and made it tougher for the team's young ball handlers to operate. No one has paid the price for this lack of spacing more than Cade Cunningham, the crown jewel of the Pistons rebuild. But the excuses are also running out for the 2021 number 1 overall pick. Sure, the 22-year-old had injuries limit his playing time and development over his first 2 seasons. The offensive environment around him is far from ideal, and Monty Williams' $12 million a year system has thus far looked unimaginative. But the Pistons have to be low-key disappointed by their supposed franchise player. Cunningham's box score numbers are fine, roughly 21 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. But the underlying numbers and the eye test paint an uglier picture. For a player of his size who has the ball in his hands as often as Cade does, his offensive impact just doesn't add up. Though he gets to the rim and draws fouls at decent clips, he doesn't do either at an elite enough level to overcome his other limitations. According to Cleaning the Glass, the third-year player is in the 13th percentile among wings when it comes to finishing at the rim, the 46th percentile as a mid-range shooter, and the 21st percentile from deep. He also can't deal with double teams yet and generally just turns the ball over way too often, with plenty of unforced turnovers that can't be explained by a cramped floor. Among the 20 players with 30-plus usage rates this season, Cunningham owns the highest turnover rate, having coughed the ball up on more than 18% of his possessions. On the other end of the floor, Cade's defense has regressed with time rather than improved. He gets blown by now more than he ever did as a rookie, while his steal, block, and rebound rates have plummeted.
That ain't no progress.
Say what you will about the bad breaks the Pistons have been dealt and the overall promise of the team's youth movement. Thompson is light years ahead of the average rookie on the defensive end. Duren looked great to start the year. Ivy has his moments, and Sasser can definitely shoot. But Detroit's future is in Cade Cunningham's hands. If he doesn't ascend to the type of superstardom the franchise envisioned for him, the Pistons' rebuild will have been a soul-crushing waste of time for long-suffering fans. The situation isn't Bulls-level depressing, since the Pistons at least have some future upside here. But when you've been this bad for this long, and the young talent still doesn't move you or inspire much hope, it's a different kind of depressing. Here's hoping 2024 brings brighter days to Motor City basketball fans than 2023 did, or 2022, or 2021, or you get the picture.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.